Hello everyone, hello and welcome to a new show, today with a game called Killer in the Cabin, which is in early access and played by basically nobody. This thing was released on the 11th of November last year, so it's not all that old. It has a free weekend right now, which is why I'm playing it, and I think I represent like 10% of the people playing it. According to Steam charts, there were 9 people playing it like half an hour ago, so maybe some of them are still there. 7 people posted a review of it, including myself. And discussions include stuff like, "Dead game." So, it's going great when those are the kind of discussions you see. It's not an expensive game. And if you're wondering what kind of game it is, well, with a name like Killer in the Cabin, you think, oh, this is, it's probably like one of those Among Us things. No, actually. This has more to do with the ship and bloody good time, and honestly, a bit of Assassin's Creed's multiplayer than it does with whatever is popular on Reddit and Twitch and the YouTubes right now. It's a game that is janky as all hell. I mean, it's made in Norway. It's eurojunk. It is as eurojunk as it can be. This game does a few things differently than Bloody Good Time or The Ship, in the sense that it doesn't really encourage you to kill people directly. You absolutely can, especially when there's very few players.
Hello.
Hello! It seems that the push to talk button doesn't really work all that well. So let's see if we can actually find more people to play with. Well, it seems that there aren't actually as many people as I thought playing right now. So you're now seeing a recording of me playing it for the first time. This is when I was actually the killer. There was a different match when I was also the killer again, but I somehow did not manage to record that one. So the bus you're seeing on the background was driven probably by my character. We were driving somewhere in Norway and fell off a cliff, and the survivors now have to all survive in the Norwegian wilderness. Well, thankfully, it's an area with camps and stuff and caves and some wolves that you can see down here, which will absolutely murder you. The map is always the same. It doesn't change. The loot does change, and the weather conditions do vary a bit. So currently, as you can see, it's here, 7 degrees outside. It is manageable. Sometimes you'll have less than that, and there is a day-night cycle. You have needs, just like in the ship, just like in Bloody Good Time. You have to, drink, you have to eat, you have to sleep. This is very important. You have to take care of your temperature. The sleeping bit is what really makes this thing somewhat nerve-wracking at times, because you can only sleep in the big cabin that you see up ahead. There's 4 beds. That's it. If you go for too long without sleeping, unlike Bloody Good Time, you don't just fall asleep on your feet, you die eventually. Your health will degrade and you will die. The game is created to function only in 15 minute intervals. It doesn't matter how many people are dead. It doesn't matter if the killer basically killed everybody. Those 15 minutes have to go by. So during that time, the killer himself or herself has to stay alive as well. It's a very delicate balance, if you will. It reminds me a bit of Battlestar Galactica, the board game, where you as a saboteur want the people to fail, but at the same time you can't really attack them face on, since the game, well, in its current forms, with not a lot of people playing it, you can't really attack them you can actually attack them directly, but were you to not be able to do that, you have stuff like poison or bleach, which you can use to poison water, this type of food, or even the cooked food later on, if you manage to actually cook anything. It encourages you to be a bit more underhanded, a bit more indirect, because when it's 2 against 1, you, even with a weapon, you may not succeed. You have weapons like axes and you have an axe, maybe some knives. There's a gun somewhere, and some darts that you can poison, I guess, to make them more effective, but
Looking.
that's basically it. It encourages you to be a bit more subtle. This reminds me kind of the old Assassin's Creed. Oh man, it's old. It's old at this moment, actually. Yeah, that's the old Assassin's Creed multiplayer mode, where the best way to play it was to be absolutely undetected, so that not even the people you just killed knew who killed them. That's what made it amazing. And this game kind of does the same thing. You are encouraged to be absolutely underhanded and not directly involve yourself in killing people, but you sabotage them. You take food. You say you don't have stuff. Now the game does say, in the bottom right here, it will often pop up things like, what's his name? Picked up something. See right here, it said something. Found something in a chest. So when you do find something like that, it does raise questions as to, did you find something useful, or did you just pick up something that's not useful, something that wouldn't really be capable of saving us from death? In that aspect, in the way that you can sabotage people, it is magnificent. It is honestly the best implementation I've seen of this kind of concept of a game since, well, I think since Battlestar Galactica, the board game, honestly. I have tried to play a bunch of these in the last couple of years, and most of them were kind of direct. They were, yeah, during the daytime I'm just a farmer, like the werewolf thing from Warcraft, but at night I can attack you. So no, this lets you be kind of constantly just another person. You don't have any magical abilities, any special powers. Everybody can do the same damage to everybody else, and things really get out of hand when people start to suspect people for no reason, or do things that are induced by you basically screwing with their heads. Or in this case, one absolutely amazing tactic that works well when people don't really know how to play it is that, well, since people aren't cooperating, we're basically all starving and everybody's dying. That's one player dead, not killed by me. I just didn't really help them live, because at this point I didn't know really how to do that. And there's Evan, and he's running away, and I'm gonna kill him eventually, but I'm killing him in a very, very different way. As you can see, when he punched me, even though I am the killer, I don't have the ability to speak anymore. So if you catch people one-on-one, you can't kill them like that, or you can, put a bear trap down there and hope they're low on life and die like that. So this was the only time I actually won outright as the killer. Well, a partial one, because I didn't kill that character, King Brasi's character. I didn't kill him, and actually because I died here as well, I technically, well, I only had. Actually, no, this is where the partial victory comes from. I killed everybody, but then I also died. So, if I had lived, I would have had a perfect score, but I didn't. So, that's what happened. This is us playing with more people. These are just a couple of people that I randomly found while trying to play it this morning, and it turned out fantastically, because even though we had no idea how to play it, we learned together and it was fun. That's honestly what really impressed me about this game. Even though I know nothing and there's just like 5 people playing it, which is less than the 7 that it's meant to be played with, we had fun. Also, there's no fall damage, and the game runs kind of terribly, to be honest. I'm gonna skip around a bit more. Basically, absolutely every instance of the game starts the exact same. You go around, you collect as many resources as you can, maybe find the ingredients for a recipe, and then go fishing or brave the wolves and still get killed by them. I'm not sure if I still have the recording from when I got killed by the wolves. I was sure I recorded that one. But anyway, pro tip, when you go to sleep, maybe it's a good idea to lock the door, which you can do. You can put you can find keys for either house doors or bedroom doors, and then lock it. Because if you don't lock it, stuff like this happens. People walk in and then walk out. Walk in and then walk out. And while you're sleeping for 1 minute, you are incapacitated, and everybody has to sleep. In this period of 15 minutes, you will need to sleep once. It's like a pit stop where things can change drastically. Everybody needs to sleep, even the killer. Actually, when I was the killer and I went to sleep, and because I had put a trap here and trapped somebody, and somebody thought that, hey, that guy could be the killer, how should I put this? They strangled me in my sleep, like you're about to see happen. Actually, I'm not sure if it's not in this one, but a player who was not the killer strangled the killer in his sleep. And the game never like that. And the game never told anybody after I died that I was the killer. And I could not tell them. Because the game isn't about finding who the killer is. It's about surviving in spite of the killer. So it doesn't matter how many people die. It doesn't matter if you actually vote them out. By the end, if you don't make it out, you don't know if the killer is still there. One thing that the game, I don't think does well is that even when there are 2 people left, you can still vote out the killer. If the killer doesn't vote, I think, maybe if the killer doesn't vote, I'm not sure, because at one point I voted out the only other person left. And they they lost basically the game. Now, when we kick this person, as you're going to see in a couple of seconds, the game won't tell us that he was a killer, even though he absolutely was. Actually, no, he wasn't. That was the idea. He wasn't the killer, but we kicked him out and had no idea. In games like Among Us, it tells you who the killer is. If you kick them out, if you vote them out, it tells you what they were sometimes. I mean, better games don't do it. Town of Salem did not. Town of Salem let people tell their own story, tell their own lies, if you will. But other games do not do that. Other more popular games do not do that. This one does. This one lets you just remain a mystery. And that makes the game quite devious because you never know if you killed the right person. You'll always be wondering when it's like when you're at the finale, when you've got 2 minutes left, when it's you with 10 points of life, no food left, and somebody else next to you. It's like the ending to The Thing. You never know when they're gonna do this. When they're gonna smother you in your sleep. Which is something that just happened to me. And to them. See, it's important to lock your doors and not go all to sleep at the same time. It's very important to do that. So let's skip around a bit more. Like I said, I did have another version of this where I was the killer again. At this point, it was when I noticed that there's a clipping issue with the weather. So if I jump high enough, I clip over the safe region of the room. So it's colder if I jump. And that actually really reduces my my ability to stay warm. Which is, I thought it was a funny thing. Again, it's a super janky game. Super mega janky game. Let's move on a bit more. Okay, so we're at this point. This is the only source of potable water that you have. It's easier to basically do anything in this game if there's 2 people. If there's 2 people, paddling on this, moving this boat thing to get you to this island where there's a bunch of really good loot. I mean, really superb loot. It's easier with 2 people to, go down here to the wolves and maybe not die. It's easier with more people to survive. It's sort of like Don't Starve. Don't starve together, actually. It's easier to not starve together if there's more people gathering resources, but at the same time, as you can see, I'm gonna go back a bit. He actually drank bleach. he was a bit of a joker, and he did some stuff like that from time to time. So it's easier to survive in a group, but when resources are scarce, if you really want to survive, you may turn into a killer and take other people's resources, though if you're not the killer, you don't get extra points, or you don't get full points by killing other people. But then again, if you do survive, you get the higher marks than you would have if you had died. And the game isn't perfect. It still needs, I think, a better scoring system, a more fleshed out idea of why people that want to survive in spite of others would get a better score. There's an idea there. There's potential there, and it's an extremely janky game. So it lets you do anything. It really harkens back to how games used to be designed, in this whole everybody's on equal footing as much as possible, and you can do basically anything, or anything that other people can do, and it's up to you to make your own fun, kind of. It reminds me a bit of how GTA missions used to be in GTA 3, as opposed to 5. I think this is actually when we went to the wolves. Yeah, this is when we went to kill the wolves and got killed by them. Yeah. This is when I died because of the wolves. So I'm actually sad that this game isn't being played. Usually when I run into one of these games and nobody's playing it, I'm like, yeah, okay, Mirage Arcane Combat. Who cares? That smash and grab thing. Woohoo. But this one actually had potential. This one actually had good ideas. Again, I can see why maybe it's not really popular, because it's really janky, but a lot of janky games are popular because they can be fun. This one, I don't think it got its fair shake, sadly. It's sad. Defeat was the killer. I think somebody probably left the game. That's why the killer isn't shown. So here I think it was when we this is when we went to the loot island. And here you can find all sorts of blueberries which you need to make muffins, and all sorts of food, and basically this is a loot lake if you're a Fortnite player. There still is a loot lake, right? I think so. You can find anything here, but the problem is that pushing that thing really reduces your stamina, and you have to sleep. So when we got back, there was the issue that we were all dead tired, like super dead tired, and King Brasi was stabbing everybody, which wasn't ideal, if you will. It was a bad time, so we had to kill him. So I do believe that this is actually one of the missions, one of the games where we managed to actually win. I'm not sure if you're hearing the drilling machines on the background, but I seem to have some neighbors that have decided to, at this point, demolish a wall or something. Moving forward. Just skipping a bit because this is recorded on a hard drive, not the SSD. I mean the footage, so it's not playing fluidly. But since the game is super jank, I couldn't really open this door for some reason. How unfortunate. And I died due to lack of sleep because I couldn't get to a bed. Yeah, motherfucker. See, I got stuck in the door. I'm not sure if the doors are locked. All the doors are locked, but I basically died just right there in the door. Something similar happened once where I died of starvation mid jump as I was close to getting into the house, which was quite funny. The game can be quite funny. And again, these were just random people I ran into. They're not my friends. They're not people I know, but still I managed to have fun with random people in a voice chat driven game. The mic can be always on or it can be toggled, but it is vital to use it, and Not something you see often, honestly. A voice chat driven game with a bunch of randos on the web, that's usually a recipe for absolute disaster. And there's the muffins, which you can poison. There's also one antidote like that syringe there. That's antidote that you need in case you get poisoned by somebody leaving a poison cookie in the open and you eating it like it happened to me. You never know if you're gonna kill the killer, so you have to be careful. And they did manage to survive in this one, I believe. That's kind of all the interesting footage I had from the game. It's really cheap on Steam, and I kind of wish that it had more people playing it, but it doesn't, and it's heartbreaking. This game has potential. This game could have been something fun. This could have been the new The Ship, which also is an abandoned game, but for a while it wasn't. Also, there's one gun in the game. You're hearing it on the background. That's just people shooting randomly for fun. Without players, this doesn't really have a leg to stand on. It needs people. It needs a lot of people. It doesn't have servers either, which is, I feel, a bad idea. Maybe if it had servers, you can actually see how many people were in the game, and maybe you could organize better. It does have a Discord, which I haven't entered their Discord, but it's maybe something that they can use to get more interest in the game. Because without it, without people, it's dead. It's a multiplayer social deduction game, multiplayer survival social deduction game without players. That's horrible. This isn't something that can be turned into a single player game unless you are like amazingly good at writing an AI that behaves like a human. Because there's all sorts of, actually, if you manage to do that, you probably created an AI that will take over humanity or something. Because there are so many elements of how people play that can't be replicated by an AI. One of the key component being the ability to speak. Oh, well, this will be it for this video. I encourage you to check it out. I know the free weekend is probably gone by now, and if you're gonna buy it, you may end up being alone. But on the off chance that you're not, that you actually find other people to play with, yeah, it's a nice game. I'll say it for the billionth time, janky as hell, but there's heart in this. There's good ideas. It's a great implementation of the concept of a social deduction game mixed with, a survival game. They go so well together. I didn't think they would go so well together, but they do. Though I probably should have thought they did, because again, Battlestar Galactica, the board game, which we played for like days, I guess, even on stream. Don't have the streams anymore, but because YouTube killed our channel. But we had that, and we played that, and it was great. And this really is the closest thing I found to that in a long time. It's beautiful. And sadly, nobody's playing it. So, see you again soon with a new show. Give Killer in the Cabin a try.
Did anyone loot the cabins on the
Hopefully, it'll be, not dead completely. And, here's a thing. Again, playing with randos on the internet doesn't usually end with fun stuff like this. That's not the killer, that's just him wanting food or he will die. So he's shooting the people. Oh, that was a warning shot. It's actually, speaking of playing with randos on the web, I haven't really experienced anything like this since, well, the gunman thing and old Team Fortress 2. Man, this game really hit a lot of areas that I didn't think it would. And nobody's playing it. It's just not fair.
I'm asleep, guys.
It's got a free weekend, and I only learned about it because some PR companies like sent me a mail about it.
Oh my!
It's listed nowhere on the Steam homepage,
Oh, you scared me.
but all the hentai games are. I mean, who am I to judge? Somebody with taste, I guess,
Where's it at?
but maybe not the right taste according to Steam. See you later, everybody. With
Has anyone ever seen the wolf?
actually Friday show will probably just be this again. I have more to say about not just this game, but games like this, and I don't mean survival games or social deduction games, but dead games like this in general. So stay tuned for Friday's video. Goodbye.
Get him.
I won't
he's a
die
traitor.
like this. I'm hungry.
Kill him,
You guys
kill him.
haven't- you know,
Oh no.
Are you doing the boat, you
I did
idiot?
not, I had to save you, brother. Yo.